will help you to see what brings the client. And then you can understand, okay, if I bring X and they bring Y, what does it mean in our exchange and how can I really be helpful?
Let's talk about our program, the program that you're going to deliver.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So I've been working with Living by Design now for 15, 16 months since meeting you in 23. And from then I've went on a bit of a journey where I've totally changed my life path really into becoming a life coach and using human design as a tool. And what I've found is there's a lot of interest in the Northeast for this, a lot of interest. People are really curious. There's a lot of people think are still on the fence with it, but I've got an array of women around me at the moment that are all like in healing work. They're life coaches. You know, some of them have been doing a lot longer than I've been in the coaching game. And they are yoga teachers, retreat facilitators, and they're coming into my space and they're looking for programs, and that's why I came to you to see, could you put something together that would facilitate a group of people that deal with people, and I'll build sort of the audience and structure, and then you do your magic.
Perfect.
So what you got forward, Talis? What you got forward?
Right? Of generator projector, how this works.
Mm-hmm.
That is something too that can be very much of value in this kind of course, you could say. I really liked the idea, and thanks for the invitation. I guess the concept we established is pretty good. I like it so far. And for sure, I mean, the people who really would need to know human design are those people who work regularly with other people. You know, it doesn't matter if it's a coach or a therapist or psychology or childcare, whatever the case, you know, everything that has to do with caring for people, working with people, healing, helping people. You need to know who the other is energetically. And I know that most people think, oh, I know this because I have experience and blah, blah, blah. But I got to tell you, and this is my honest opinion, you have no clue. You project, you interpret, and when you really have this map of human design in front of you, you can really be discernful with who the other is and what most people forget, who you are. What do you bring to the table? Because this is always like, you know, it's just the other, and you have this kind of profession blindness, you know, that you forget yourself in the play, so to say. And that's dangerous because, you know, let's say you are an emotional person, very emotional. You radiate your emotional stuff, you know, chemistry. You will condition the other to be emotional too in that moment, even if you don't want that, even if you try to be very natural and sober and whatnot. The other will take it in, and of course, the other will then reflect back these emotions, and then you think, this is a similar thing that I know, and I deal with this, so I teach them how to deal with this, but it's not even them. So you teach the people something that they cannot use because the moment they go out of the door, it's not there anymore, you know? So you don't.
Yeah. I've got an example of this. When I was before human design, I was going life coaching myself, and it was with Jill. You've met Jill, and every time I was in her company, because she's hard to find and has this iron will, every time I was in sessions with her, I was like, yes, yes, and I was going away, and I was like, yes, I'm going to do it, and then every time I left, she'd be like, I would end up ignoring her. You know, a few days later, I should be checking in, and I'd be like, oh, I just don't really have I don't have the drive for that. I don't know what happened. And me and Jill talk about this a lot now. It's like, all right, she used to think she was losing so many clients, or they just weren't. They were so enthusiastic, so enthusiastic and on board in the room, and then when they leave, they don't follow through. And now, because of we've both been on this journey, we've realized. So now she puts that in, you know, you're gonna feel like you can do this now because you're with me, but these are the things you need to do. So it is really, it's a compelling tool to even know from the simplest of things like that. It's a good example of people walking away thinking that
Wonderful example you just brought up.
yeah.
Somebody wants to stop smoking. goes to some of these therapy course sessions, lectures, whatever you want to call it. And in the front is somebody with a defined heart center. You can stop if you want to. We can stop. And everybody's like, yeah, I can stop. And you go outside and your ego, your heart center is pushed and you think you have this willpower and it slowly fades away. For every kilometer you drive home, you have more and more craving for another pack of cigarettes. And eventually you will stop and buy them. And you will feel even worse than before going to the course because now you're not even able to do it, you know? So your self-esteem even and your confidence goes even more down. So this is really, if you know those mechanics, it's
It's a game changer.
wow. It's
It gets
very
rid of
transformative.
it gets rid of so much shame for me and guilt, and it just gives you a permission just to be.
See, exactly. This is exactly
Mm.
what it is. It gives you the permission to be who you are, you know? And it gives you also this kind of mm, it approves what you always felt about yourself, you know? That you were like, where you thought, but I thought I'm thinking I'm this, or I feel like I'm more like that, but why I'm like this? It helps to decode that, so
It
to say.
does. It like unpeel for me. It was like peeling onions of a layer. Every layer, I could see me there. I could hear me there, but it was like I didn't trust that part of myself because it was the mind, and it was so much time on your own. Really, this experiment just to really. I couldn't do anything else in the last year. Really,
Yes, yes.
I'm only starting to now. It's more integrated and my work's flowing now, and life's just unfolding on response because I've now channeled to live that way. But it's a daily. It's still it. I mean, for you, I want to ask you this question. You're nearly 7 year, aren't you? Are you 8 year?
I had my reading in June 2018.
Because
So
do you,
it's around 7 years now, yeah. More.
so do you still catch the mind then? Is it now? Because they say 7 year to fully transition into it. Because I had a couple of questions going off topic here, but are you now operating fully? Like the mind, it's just now, it's just automatic for you now without having the constant, oh, that's the mind. Oh, because I'm constantly, all the time, just catching myself.
Uh, I would say that most of the time it is really now something that is all automated. It's like,
Yeah,
for example, when you drive to your workplace,
that's the word.
every one of us experienced this, that you arrive at the workplace and you're like, how did I get here?
Yeah.
Huh? Everybody knows that. So it became a kind of automatic, it's not like that it's how can I say? It's more like your body takes over, yes. My
Yeah.
body took over and there's not so much things anymore where I feel stressed or confused or tense regards making decisions. It still happens and my mind is still there and it's very loud and it annoys me and this is still there. Don't get me wrong. Uh, Ra always said, the founder of human design, stupid before enlightenment and stupid after. It's not like that you will be totally transformed in your mind and everything. No, it can give you this possibility, but it takes time. It's the same with you have a relationship for, let's say, 10 years. You cannot just forget about this in one day. You need your time to find back. And the same in human design, or what we talk about right now, just 7 years. But I lived before that 7 years, I lived 30 years, so to say,
In the not self.
in the not self-conditioned and took in things and were playing a role and had different costumes that were not mine. So it takes time. But yes, I think after the third or maybe fourth year, it really kicked in that I could not go back, so to say. I could not fake it anymore. I could not play a role anymore that wasn't me. What was super easy before, I had a normal, 9 to 5 job. Sometimes I worked 16 hours a day. I had a second job. I did all these typical system normal things, the things that are seen as this is necessary and this is normal and everybody has to be like this. And I was like that too, so to say. I was a slave of my own, so to say. I didn't use my potential. I had no idea what my potential was because the only moments I kind of express those were with maybe friends. And, I never thought about that this could be a profession, or, the thing is about this, the most obvious about yourself is usually what is the most important. But because it's so obvious, it's like hands, we have hands. I mean, some of you maybe who watched it, I don't know, maybe you have an accident or you don't have hands, but in general, most people have hands. You never think about your hands. It's not like, oh, I have hands. Wow, I could do this and that. No, you don't, you look into the world, you don't even think about your hands. But this is the most obvious that you have, so to say, and this is with human design too. You have a potential, you have something that is so unique and needs to be there in the world and expressed. But you don't see it because you pay attention to what you want and what you could be and what you wish to have. And, all these mental wishes and drama and desires. And I'm not saying this is bad. I'm just saying it's not the right way. This is a distraction. You can have fantasies and desires. It's all good. But don't initiate them. Let them come to you. That's the main thing.
Yeah, I spent my life initiating.
Me too. I was initiating everything. I mean,
Driving, initiating, getting upset when people weren't listening,
yeah.
people pleasing. So with this program, where it's really going to help people with the key aspects of it, so it's going to get them to understand when you're looking at a body graph, what is it, and in a very given it's not a deep dive, it's not going to give everyone everything, but it's going to lay a really solid foundation for practitioners to be able to look at a body graph, look at their clients, and then start understanding how they can guide them on their decision-making process and
It's like
alignment
a
and get the
masterclass. It's like a masterclass, but a more wider one. Usually masterclasses are like 2 hours or something, really condensed. But this goes over 2 days, so it has the flavor of a masterclass, and it will deliver you all the fundamentals you need to know to play with this, at least, to you apply it every now and then to see, okay, I have client A, client B, client C. Let's look at their charts before we have a therapy session or shamanic ritual, whatever the case may be. This will be helpful for any kind of healing worker or whatever you want to call them or want to call yourself. And it will help you to see, first of all, what do you bring to the table in whatever session you have with somebody, with your client? And it will help you to see what brings the client. And then you can understand, okay, if I bring X and they bring Y, what does it mean in our exchange? And how can I really be helpful? That's why we decided to call it Client Work 2.0, because it's really a new path. It's a new direction, a new way of working with clients. It's a more direct, personal, unique way. It's not so generalized. And I mean, I have, friends who are therapists or psychologists, and it's almost like if they work in a call center, they have their kind of script and blah, 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 blah. It's not, it can help. And maybe it even helps the majority of people. It can, I don't want to even doubt that. But I know that it can be more efficient. I know that it can be more unique in the sense that you really see the person that's in front of you, and that you can have more fun and enjoyment because you finally can help somebody to crack open something that they were never able to see on for themselves, maybe.
And you get results on first calls. I can get results from clients now, the people I'm working with, just by understanding their emotional, their energy type, their channels, even looking at when they're saying they're suffering. I've got one client, he's got 10 melancholic gaits, and when he talks in his language, he's in this melancholic fog at the moment, and he's really beats himself up. He's like, I'm going back in a hole, I've got depression. Say, actually, no, you're not. Let's create something with this. Like, what is it? And it's transformed his world in the last couple of weeks, just because he's not looking at it as the system. You've got depression. It's like, no, we've all got things, we've all got strengths, and we've all got shit we've got to get over. We're designed with both, and we've got to hold space for both. And When you look at it and you can speak to a client and say, you are designed with this, you're designed with guilt, but there's a way we can go around it. I'm designed with that. But they start, you can see instantly on their face, like, thank you. Like, I get so many voice notes. Oh, thank you so much for sharing this with us. And it's like, but it's there. And it's like all of a sudden what they've been berating their minds over for 40 odd years. And I was the same. Confusion and doubt rules my head. And that was in a not self way most of my life. Now, nothing made sense. Everybody was lying. Nobody was giving us enough answers. And it really had me in a procrastinative state most of my life until human design. Now, confusion is a gift. I look at it like, ooh, I'm confused. What's going to happen? And doubt, it's like, okay, let's go deeper. Let's go deeper. Let's go deeper till you've got it. And then I know that I'm just always seeking truth. So it's them little things for me that I want for everyone to learn from you is just the smallest of things, me being open emotionally and sitting with emotional people. I've amplified everybody's shit all my life, like screamed and shouted, looked like the crazy person, then to realize I'm not the emotional being, but I didn't know that and I didn't know how to regulate myself. It's so powerful to own your own shit and know what's yours. And I think that's for what I want to give to people, my clients, people that work with people. I'm not precious about this. It's all about money. And I know it's not with you. It's about the message. And I think if more people and more healers and people that work with people can get out there and start just introducing this more, we'll not be around for it, but hopefully we're starting to create a much better world for the future, is what I want to say.
Exactly.
As cheesy as that sounds, it is what it is for me.
It's true. I can understand this. I mean, when I teach human design or when I give readings, there's always this underlying, almost an underlying code that I wish that this will be passed on to the kids.
Yeah.
Because they would save themselves from so much shit, suffering and pain and rejection and those things that we assume are normal. Everybody needs to be frustrated and every now and then. Everybody needs to suffer. And I say no, it's not true.
No, it's not.
Suffering is not the nature of a human being.
Not at all. And that's for to get this to kids. That would be a big push. I've got
to start with the ones who are grown up, first.
Yeah.
Because they condition the kids, They teach them, they show them stuff. They are the role models for them,
My relationship with my son from this has absolutely transformed, even in the way I used to berate him for how he ate. I'm direct light, he's indirect light. I'd go to bed at 6, 7 o'clock, naturally. I used to go late in early night. And I'd get up in the morning and there'd be a Sunday dinner everywhere. And I'd be like, Aiden, man, it's not healthy. What are you doing? It's not the right time to eat. You shouldn't be eating at 9 o'clock at night. Condition. And then when you did his reading and we got his design, I was like, oh shit, come here, son, you're indirect. You should be eating at night. And just in that understanding of him thinking, so it's all right, mom. Well, yeah, like I didn't know what I was talking about, obviously.
Yeah.
And them tiny little tweaks make such a difference because that's his natural behavior. And and that was just one example. There was so much throughout his whole life I've gone against unknowingly, trying to be the best parent you can in the world. But we are conditioning everyone every day, good or bad.
Yes. Another beautiful thing that we will also talk about in this client work 2.0 is you will be able to know how the other can make correct decisions. I mean, for me, this is always magical to be able to share with somebody how they can actually make a decision that is correct for them. Because most people, it's like, listen to your heart, listen to your gut, go with your intuition, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but it's not true for everybody. I can never go with intuition or my heart or my gut. It's not correct for me.
No.
I have a completely different way of making a decision. It's somatically, it's not that my mind makes a decision. It's always the body. And through neuroscience, we know that the body makes a decision and not our mind that comes at the end. It's just a translator. But this is another thing that we will for sure tackle in the course. I try to give you as in this course some idea about mine and what it does actually. And this is amazing. I see the people like, oh, finally, I know. Yes, I already did this when I was young, but then I kind of, forgot about this. And now I don't know what people can come up with. There's this, I don't know what this is called, where you put the stuff down, kinesiology, I think. Kinesiology. Yeah, I know.
Kinesiology.
It is.
Kinesiology.
Yes. And flipping coins and journaling, but this is all not necessary. It can help. I'm not saying that, I'm not against those things. But there is something that is more profound and more natural. And this is what I like. I like the obvious, the most profound and most natural thing that is there for you. And then you can get other techniques that, for example, if you're not emotional, what that means, we will talk in the course much deeper, but to in general say, like, if you're not emotional, for sure you need to have some tools how to deal with the emotions that you take in then,
Yeah.
at the
Definitely.
beginning you need that. In the beginning you need to find out, okay, how can you, calm your nervous system? How can you deal with the emotions that go to your lungs and feel like you cannot breathe anymore? For sure there is things that help. But, you know, human design is giving you the insight of why that is and where does it come from.
Yeah.
And it tells you cannot protect yourself with a golden egg, for example. It's not possible. You can protect yourself with techniques for some things, yeah, but you cannot protect yourself from energy of other people, and you don't need to. This is a misunderstanding. You don't need to protect yourself from others. You are an adult. You're here to be responsible for who you are, and you will always, if you follow your body, know what to do, where to go, what to say. If you own your shit.
Yeah.
This is amazing. It's helpful. It shows you on the map right away. Here, this is who you are in the sense of this is your differentiation. This is what is your uniqueness. This is what you can trust. This is what is reliable.
And then it's all just deconditioning from that. Because for me, the strategy and authority, that's it. Everything. I never even looked at my life path and things like that until I looked at it at the beginning because I dived into it all. But as you go through, it's just strategy, authority, strategy, authority. The rest just start unfolding. I found as well. And then I looked, because of my health and how I was chronically ill for so long, I wanted to dive into all of the health, the primary. I wanted to look into everything, and I'm a 1-3, so I wouldn't say I retained it all, but I had to eat everything to find a safety in it. Think, right, this is solid, and then I can go out and live it. But the biggest part for me and all clients, every week I'm working on strategy and authority with clients. It's deconditioning the mind, it's deconditioning practices, introducing different tools and environments for them to try and stay aware and present every day. Because that's what it is. It's present awareness, isn't it? Every day, really, whether you're emotional or not, or making decisions, just being aware in the now is how you live by design to me, whether that's you make a decision now or not, but just being present and aware every single day is that's all I do now. Don't really plan too much ahead. Don't really plan ahead.
Not
And
necessary anymore.
no, and it's not for most people though. When you sit where I sit with people and they're sitting with their Google spreadsheets and it's all color coded and they've got their break times in and you're thinking, God, that used to be how I thought was a productive life. Like I badged my self-worth off a calendar. I used to show it with pride. Look at how much I'm doing.
Yeah.
Mm.
Another beautiful thing about client work 2.0. This is not about you receive a reading and now need to change your life. This is, if you want this, there's other modules and formats and stuff. This is for you to have new perspectives, how to work with your clients, how to be able to see something in them that you maybe felt or sensed, but couldn't put words to it, couldn't put a finger on it. For me, this was so beautiful in the beginning when I studied human design, when I started to study it, because it's not like that I couldn't sense or see those things before, but I didn't have words for it. I couldn't put it in a logical equation to explain or express it, that it was mutual, you know? And wow, it makes it possible. It makes it possible to be moral, free, neutral in how you share your sensations of the other that will be empowering for the other in the best case. It can also sometimes be disempowering, and it's another thing. It's not bad that something is disempowering. Maybe it's disempowering them in their wrong path. I mean,
Uh,
there is a lot of angles of how we can understand working with people in a fresh way. And I would really love to have some people who work with other people, and then I can pass that on, that they have a fundamental understanding of this. They can use this in their practice.
Yeah,
It's
for them to bring a client,
own.
like a client profile along to the course, and we can look at their client and look at them and what a
Exactly.
little bit of examples. Yeah, because we'll go through all of the understanding of the basics of the energetics, definition and structure. Do you want to? Yeah.
Yeah, so basically my idea was we really start with a, some kind of introducing into a space where we need to be open. Okay. And from that place on, we go more deeper, and for sure there will be examples and this and that. And we need all, if you want to participate and you want to have the most outcome, you need to have your exact birth time. So this is necessary, just so you know. But yeah, we start with an orientation. So what are we really looking at? We have this weird map with forms and colors, and what does it mean? And then we will go into the center dynamics. A center is basically nothing more than a hub that is processing your internal chemistry and energy and gives it a kind of flavor. So, for example, there is centers that process your experience as a human being emotionally. There is hubs or centers that will filter your reality through the aspect of survival, for example. And then we go through some, real life examples with clients, what this could mean. We just teased a bit in this video already. And then there's a little exercise where you can, integrate. And then we go on and we define the inner structure and what it means. There's people, for example, that are very independent in their own energetic circuit, so to say. And there's other people who need others, who are much more focused than others. And this has nothing to do with, oh, okay, they are, very attached and blah, blah, blah. They need to work on this. No, this is true for them. And also we will go through the kind of format circuits. This is a weird word, but it's almost like, there's three categories of how people interact in general. And there's a tribal phase we have, there's a collective phase we have, and there's an individual phase we have. And those can show differently, and those clients need different things. And then we will go into the four auras. So this is the energetic field that is radiating, that is, your the extended body, if you will. And most of you will already know that there is an aura. If you say, what aura, this is bullshit, there will be ways that I can prove this to you, and you can prove it to yourself for sure. This is not about belief. This is not about a dogma. This is about experimenting and validating it for yourself.
Yeah.
Very important to say that. And then on the next day, you will have a little homework that we will speak about on the next day, and we will go into the inner authorities, how people can make decisions, and bring some practical examples again. And in the afternoon, I guess on the second day, I will give a little bit more about the 6 lines. This is it's a very good introduction that I give you for this, to understand how the mode of people is from their personality. Okay. So for example, I'm a first line personality. I will always, no matter what I do, have some insecurity inside of my own mentality. This is normal for me. It's necessary for me. So I will stay up to date and investigate, because this is my nature. And if you know this with your client, and your client says, oh, I'm here because I'm always insecure, you will not able to heal that. It's not necessary because it's part of who they are. And for sure, we will go there into some practice, and we will play with this. And I had this insight or idea that maybe we could do some real examples. So you will bring a chart of a client, for sure anonymous, don't put the name or something, and you, so client and practitioner, and I will give some overview of what I can see that you have that you get a feeling of what is possible, and for sure you need to train and apply it in your own style. But and then we will have some end in the sense of you can ask some questions. We will try to integrate as much as possible, and then you go out in the world and validate and try and experiment and see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. What we can do as well is we can have a space for people afterwards in the natural balance. It might be a community if people want to continue in a cohort. People can stay in this space if they're still engaging and learning together from the course. Sounds really good. I'm excited for it.
Me too. Yeah. I
I'm
mean,
excited.
I'm always open for formats like this. For sure, I am also teaching the very classical structured style, and there's stuff that you can buy and blah blah blah.
Yeah, and that'll be good to have all the resources at the end for people to dive into, and I'll be sharing a lot of them because you've got some amazing resources and they're really cheap. Really cheap for the quality of what you put out there. So there's lots for people to tap into without having to spend a load of money. I went crazy at first on human design. I thought I needed to, and then I only ever go back to that book, the centers, if I need to, the human design book, and then you, mate,
Yeah,
your books.
I'm working on the second one
Oh
right.
yeah, good. I mean, this is literally been everywhere with this law, and it's getting a bit of a hammer, and I'll probably need another copy soon because I really do work my books. But this, for anyone as well, this is just a must-have for me. I think it's so simplistic, so easy, and you can just jump to anything, like the manifesting generator, the 6 lines. I dip in and out of that so easy, and it's really good when I've done workshops. Everyone loves these. This and your cards, loves the cards. So yeah, you've got some really good resources.
I'm looking forward to our workshop. I like to make this in a different format to make it more interactive and playful and really give examples. Maybe shock a bit, maybe challenge you a bit in your perspectives and beliefs. As you already see, I'm preaching in what I do. It's not like that and then we have this, I have my calm moments too. It's not like that, but I burned for this. This is something that is important to me. I live this, I study this, and I would be happy to share it with you.
Let's get you in the UK, mate. Let's go crack the northeast now, eh? Yeah, one by one by one.